Welcome back to the Relaxing Ghost channel here on YouTube. As always, your host with the most, Ghost. And today we got our AEW Dynamite review, the debut episode for the AEW brand live on TNT. And we'll see if a few of you guys can come in today, make the live stream a little bit interesting. What's going on, man? How you doing? How's everyone doing? What's up, Mark? That boy who goes ahoy, what's up? Um, if you're still on Twitter, make sure you contact me, that boy who goes ahoy. Want to talk to you. I'm also going to get into the NXT show from the same night. They were live at Full Sail. Two really good shows, in my opinion. The Wednesday Night Wars have arrived. And this is something I've been looking forward to. I know I haven't really made many videos about this, but this is awesome. I love this stuff. I love the back and forth kind of, flipping through channels. Although I don't have TNT on my cable provider, I'm hoping NXT will be on the Canadian Sportsnet channel here. Yeah, I did hear that. Brock Lesnar and Cain Velasquez in Crown Jewel. Don't care. I'll make a video on that probably later tonight or tomorrow. So AEW was live at the Capital One Arena in Washington, D.C. This is October 2nd, 2019. So this is the first wrestling show on TNT since March of 2001. It's been over 18 years since WCW closed. And for many years now, the just wrestling hasn't been the same. WWE has, been in a downward slump for the last, several years, in my opinion, at least going back to 2010, 2011. Yeah, they had, some major angles and storylines, and they've had some great stuff over the years, but I think that's when things really started going downhill was 2010, 11, 12, and that's one of their best WrestleMania numbers. I'll be from the Rock and John Cena, so you could thank the Rock for WrestleMania 28's buy rate. But other than that, we went through some tough times in WWE. So let's get into AEW Dynamite first. If you have any questions, comments, follow along with me. Comment your thoughts down below, guys. So they opened up with Cody Rhodes versus Sammy Guevara. Pretty decent match overall. The crowd didn't seem like they were heavily mic'd up for this event. I'm guessing they're gonna try to work through these production issues or whatnot, but at times the crowd seemed quiet. They weren't really into the show. These are nitpicking here, but this match was awesome. We had Cody Rhodes actually wins the match, disaster kick, and he blocks the shooting star press with the knees and rolls up Sammy Guevara for the 3 count. They did a pretty cool spot earlier on in the match with a suicide dive into Brandy Rhodes. Thought that was pretty cool. Anyways, after the match, Jericho comes down to the ring, hits a code breaker on Cody Rhodes, and then they go to commercial. I thought this was a wrong time for a commercial break. It's your debut episode. You got your world champion in the ring, and they're doing the side-by-side kind of deal. and the commercials are rolling while your champion is kicking the hell out of Cody Rhodes. Um, they'll definitely have to work out timing if they're not up to speed when their commercial breaks are going to be taking place. They'll definitely have to be informed about this because I thought this was the wrong place to put a commercial break. They'll definitely have to work on their timing issues. Second match of the night was Brandon Cutler versus MJF. MJF cuts a promo on the 35-year-olds, calling them all virgins and whatnot. And this was a decent match. It went pretty short actually. Um, MJF with the arm breaker and or Brandon Cutler taps out, and JR is plugging the TV 14 stuff. By the way, we had Tony Schiavone, good old JR, Jim Ross, and Excalibur on the commentary team. Three baby faces. Hey, what's up, man? Yeah, a lot of wrestling. Loads and loads of wrestling this week. Um, so, what I am going to be doing now is I am going to be putting the X-Nay on Monday Night Raw, and I'm going to be watching mainly wrestling during Wednesdays and Fridays now because I really have no interest in watching 3 hours of Monday Night Raw anymore. I'll either watch NXT, AEW live, and then I'll SmackDown on Friday nights and pay-per-views on Saturdays and Sundays. I have no interest on watching Monday Night Raw anymore. It's been good 25 years. Over the past, maybe 4 to 5 years, I've lost a lot of interest in watching Raw, especially since they've gone to 3 hours. I have no interest at all in watching it. I'll watch clips and matches if something pops my interest, but other than that, it's gonna be AEW Dynamite, NXT on Wednesdays, and Friday Night SmackDown, which I'm gonna have a review up for SmackDown as well. Back from the next commercial break, we had Angelico and Jack Evans getting into it with Private Party. And this is where the Jay and Silent Bob thing came into play. And then after that, we had SCU and the Lucha Bros getting into it. Lucha Bros saying they are the best tag team in the universe. I, I I love the Lucha Bros, but they're not the best at promos, so they kind of make me chuckle. And this was fun stuff. It's definitely setting up for next week's tag team tournament, which is gonna be fun. Um, I love tag team wrestling. AEW seems to really be focusing in on their tag team division a lot. Um, I hate WWE's tag team division. It is just off the rails at this point, and I hate when you just keep throwing two random guys together and putting the belts on them over and over and over again when you have a great tag team roster. You know, to take the belts off of the Revival and put them on Strowman and Rollins, and then take the belts off them and put it on Rude and Ziggler. It just doesn't make sense to me. These are tag teams that aren't even tag teams. So let's see what the live comments are saying here. Gavinots, what's up, man? We also got TN Couponer here and Roll On AEW Dark. Yeah, man, this would have been crazy back in 98, 99, and seeing people on YouTube doing reviews of, what happened on Raw and Nitro and things like that. It was a crazy time to be a fan, and I'm glad I have some, tapes of stuff I recorded, and I'm glad they made a lot of DVDs about all that stuff. So it definitely would have been a more hectic time seeing how hectic it is now. Figure if Twitter and Facebook and all that stuff was around 20 years ago, it would have been even more crazy. So the third match of the night is Pac versus Hangman Adam Page. This was a decent match. I didn't really enjoy it as much as I thought I would. I'm starting to think Hangman isn't the man. Early on in the match, he did a kip up into a shooting star press. I was not a fan of that spot at all. And, a kip up is normally used towards the end of a match when your stamina is drained and you're trying to get that second wind and you hit it and you soak up all the energy from the crowd. He hits a kip up and whoop, flies into the shooting star press like no tomorrow. Um, Pac dominates most of the match. Um, a huge fall away slam. And we go to another commercial break, pitcher in pitcher. Um, Pac ends up blocking the dead eye. A low blow. And then a black arrow brutalizer combo. Pac wins the match. He goes 2-0. Seems like Hangman's going on a losing streak now. 50-50 booking. I knew it. Wins and losses. I'm starting to not like the wins and losses thing. Because after a while, everyone's going to be about 50-50. You might go on a big winning streak. You might go on a big losing streak. But after a while, everyone's going to be about 500. I love the Black Arrow. It's one of the greatest top rope finishing moves. I wish he would have just pinned him after that, but the Brutalizer is a great finisher. Seeing Pac and Pac, whatever you want to call them, seeing him in AEW is a big, thumbs up for me because he was a highlight of WWE. I didn't think he deserved to be in the cruiserweight division, but I didn't really see him being in the heavyweights either. So I think AEW is a great fit for him. You know, Maybe one day he'll go back to WWE, but for now he's going to be in AEW. Um, Nyla Rose versus Rio was the fourth match of the night for the women's inaugural championship. And these first three matches, they had a time limit to them as well. The women's championship match had no limit at all. So it seems like the title matches are going to be no limits, while the standard matches or tag matches might have a 15, 20 minutes. And this was a decent match. I wasn't a big fan on this one either. Early on in the match, we see a senton off the apron onto some chairs. Nyla Rose missing Rio. And she's working the crossface a few times. Rio with the double stomp. Crossface again. Nyla Rose hits a Death Valley driver. And Rio with the no lights super knees to face for the 3 count. We got our first AEW Women's Champion. After the match, Kenny Omega comes down to the ring and is celebrating with Rio. Let me know your thoughts on this one, guys. Rio, I didn't think they would give her the title here. It was definitely surprised me. Nothing against Nyla Rose. I'm sure she'll get the title eventually, but there is some smoke in the room with her, obviously being transgender and whatnot. She's obviously taken the women's side of her. So I have nothing against this. It's uh it's just kind of weird, but we'll get used to it. I know there's definitely going to be a lot of haters out there hating on Nyla Rose. I think she's fine. You know what? If you don't even think about it, you won't even know about it, and people can talk all the shit they want. Nyla Rose, she's a hell of a performer. So Rio, first women's champ. I think they did the right thing. They built her up quite nice over the past few months since Double or Nothing, Fight for the Fallen. Rio has definitely been a highlight on a lot of these AEW shows, despite being, unknown in the beginning. That looks pretty cool, man. AEW's next week's show, Moxley versus Spears, which doesn't make too much sense because they're both heels, but whatever. And the main event of Dynamite, we had 5 matches this week. The Elite, Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks, Matt and Nick Jackson versus the AEW World Champion Chris Jericho and the former LAX Santana and Ortiz. This was a good match overall. A lot of crazy stuff going on here. Yeah, Jericho and Omega going at it. I loved it. Um, I hope they go back to Jericho and Omega and let them just go at it. Let them just tear the house down. We've seen Super Kick Party, and Moxley comes out of nowhere. Him and Kenny Omega brawl through the crowd, and they end up in a room backstage, suplex through a glass table. Craziness. And the ref does not call for a DQ. The match keeps rolling. They're going back and forth backstage to Omega and Moxley. Into the ring with the Bucks, Jericho, and the LAX. We see a Melcher driver interfered by the Codebreaker. Judas effect for the 3. After the match, you see Cody run down, Dustin Rhodes running down, and then Jake Hager making his debut for AEW. This had been going back to All Out, I believe, that Jake Hager, Jack Swagger would be making his debut. Um, Again, I'm not really a fan of Jake Hager, Jack Swagger, whatever you want to call him, but good move for them. Pick this guy up while he's still pretty fresh. I did like him at one point, but he never really did much for me. Overall, AEW show, thumbs up from me. It got off to a hot start, ended hot. We got some more build for Full Gear, which is in November some point. Let's talk about the viewership this week, because AEW just blew out NXT, apparently. I wouldn't really call it a blowout. AEW did about a point 0.7, while NXT did a point 0.5, which translates to 1.4 million viewers, while NXT did a 0.89, almost 900,000 folks. So about a 500,000 more for AEW this week. It's a debut episode. I knew they were gonna do a huge number. This is pretty big. I think NXT's first week they did about a 1.2 million, so we're about the same here. So we got Tion Couponer here. Jake Hager is the last Lucha Underground champion. That's pretty cool. Didn't know that. Yeah, it sucks. Lucha Underground also don't think they're going back to TV either. Lucha Underground was pretty cool. I never could catch any time to watch it, but from what I've seen, I enjoyed the hell out of it. So NXT, AEW, AEW gets the win first week head to head. Let's get into NXT. They had like 6, 8 matches. Yeah, 6 matches. 2 big returns. I knew this was going to happen. I'm also expecting a lot of people to return here to NXT. So, what did you guys think of AEW overall? I ran a poll on the channel. We got about 85% thumbs up, 15% thumbs down, with about 70, 80 votes, something like that. Um, After every big show, I usually do a poll. You guys can check the community tab and send in your vote. I don't do the thumbs in the middle vote just because I like a more accurate reading or the didn't watch option. I feel like too many times people don't watch. So if you don't watch, hit a thumbs up, add an extra vote, whatever. If you see what you like, thumbs up. If you see something you don't like, thumbs down. Let's see who's in the chat here. Enjoyed AEW, yep. So it seemed to me like NXT had a takeover level show here. The crowd was amazing from start to finish. They had an overrun of about 10 minutes. So they went till the show was completely done. Not sure if they'll allow this every week, but it was important to do it this week, I guess. I'm not sure exactly when the next takeover is. War Games, right? Survivor Series weekend, which is my favorite of the NXT takeovers. This show opened up with a hot start. Matt Riddle challenging Adam Cole for the NXT Championship. This was just insanity. So Matt Riddle at one point hits a GTS, a power bomb, and a double kick for a 2 count. Adam Cole hits 2 Panama Sunrises. Matt Riddle does lock in the Bro Mission to be countered with Adam Cole hitting the last shot to retain the title. This was awesome. I mean, this is a takeover level match here. The crowd was awesome throughout the whole match, hanging on to every fall. I'm not a big fan of the way Adam Cole does that Panama Sunrise. There's a lot of people, that's the big move everyone's doing right now is the Canadian Destroyer. Second match of the night was Mia Yim versus Io Shirai. I like Mia Yim. I like Io Shirai. I don't know. This match was okay for me, but Yim hit the code blue for a 2 count, and Io Shirai hits a moonsault for the pin and the win. Third match of the night was Johnny Gargano versus Shane Thorne. These were a couple of short matches here back to back. More filler. And after the NXT title match, Finn Balor returns to NXT, saying he is now NXT. Don't know if that's forever or just temporary. Who knows? Maybe he'll have a one-off at a TakeOver War Games with the title on the line. I'd love to see Balor back in NXT. It seems, he's more of an NXT guy. He's been back and forth, on and off on the main roster. Seems like 3 years ago they put the Universal title on him, and then he had a bad injury, was out almost a year, and ever since then he's been hot, cold, on and off, never really recovered after that. So Triple H definitely knows how to push Finn Balor, and we'll get to see the Demon more often. I think he only been the Demon maybe 3 or 4 times, maybe five at the most. on in WWE. Johnny Gargano versus Shane Thorne. Again, another pretty much filler match. Johnny Gargano hits the Poison Rana and a super kick for the win. Uh, Gargano and Shane Thorne, decent match, pretty short. Fourth match of the night was the big women's title match. I honestly thought this was going to be the end of Shayna Baszler. They're obviously going to push her a little bit more. Shayna Baszler versus Candice LeRae. Early on in the match, Shayna sends LeRae into the steel steps and starts working on the arm. She hits a trio of suicide dives. I believe Candice LeRae does. And Candice LeRae at one point blocks the Kirifuda clutch. LeRae goes for the moonsault, misses. And then Baszler locks in the Kirifuda clutch. LeRae taps out. Shayna retains. This was a good match. I was expecting a new champion. And, Candice LeRae is definitely proving her worth here in NXT. So she's someone to look out for. Fifth match of the night. Just seemed another short match here, which I'm fine with. Pete Dunne is another guy, amazing. Pete Dunne versus Danny Burch. This one pretty short, but Pete Dunne hits the bitter end for a 3, and after the match we had Damian Priest taking out Pete Dunne. So that's probably going to be our next feud here, Damian Priest and Pete Dunne. That'll be pretty cool. And the main event for the NXT Tag Team Championships, the Undisputed Era, Bobby Fish, Kyle O'Reilly versus the Street Profits. And the Street Profits had Wale doing their entrance here at Full Sail. Yeah, Gargano versus Balor would be nice. And, Punishment Martinez, that's right, in Lucha Underground, or Ring of Honor. Now, it seems like a lot of these guys from Lucha Underground are finally getting out of their contracts and finding places to work. Who was it? Eva Lise, right? She was also in that Casino Battle Royal at All Out. So it's good to see her. Ricochet was there in Lucha Underground. I believe King Cuerno, right? And then you got Pentagon, Phoenix. Lucha Underground, they definitely had a lot of talent. It's really cool to see, all these luchadors. If I could pick any wrestling to watch all day, it'd probably be Lucha Libre. That was one thing I loved about WCW was the cruiserweight division, the featured Lucha Libre guys like Eddie Guerrero, Rey Mysterio, Juventud, Psychosis, La Parca. So many greats. And then you had other lower tiered guys like Silver King, Hector Garza. I believe his son's wrestling now, Hector Garza. So this was a pretty good match. It went long. I believe over 20 minutes for sure. Well, thank you for that, Tyler Hodder. What's going on, man? Thanks for joining the review. And I'm not sure if I'll do this every week. If you guys enjoy it, if enough people watch, I'm definitely up for doing live streams every week. For me, it's better to do it Saturday or Sunday. It gives me a little bit of time anyways, because I can only watch one of them live. I'd rather just watch one live than to flip back and forth. I don't have TNT, so I'd have to, find a way to watch AEW otherwise and then watch NXT, the day after or whatever. So for me, it's better to watch AEW live as it airs and then watch NXT either the next day or on Friday after or before SmackDown. So, Street Profits versus Era. We see a great exploder suplex here by Angelo Dawkins. That was one of my favorite. I remember the Tazplex. That's what it is. Huge frog splash by Montez Ford. Angelo Dawkins ends up hitting strong with the spear. And they got like this double submission going on with the leg lock and the guillotine, which Montez Ford breaks up. They do the high low. Bobby Fish pins Montez Ford. Undisputed Era retains. After the ring, yeah, Roderick Strong came down. He didn't really interfere, but his presence was known. Roddy Strong, Fish, O'Reilly, they're celebrating in the ring. Adam Cole comes out, holds up the NXT title. They're all smiling, fun and games. And then Tommaso Ciampa comes out, giving a big stare down to Adam Cole. And that looks like it's going to be our next feud. Or it's going to be at least a three-way between Cole, Balor, and Ciampa, which I'm expecting big things out of that. Between Gargano and Ciampa, those are my two favorites on NXT. Ciampa probably a little higher. I always lean more towards the heels. That's why I like Adam Cole so much. Maybe they'll do a Balor Ciampa match, which would be awesome. And then the winner of that challenges Cole. Unless it breaks down, we don't get a winner, and then we get a triple threat. So that would be great. Overall, I'm probably going to be in the minority here. I do think NXT was the better show overall, but don't sleep on Dynamite at all. Just because it was their first show, they're still in the promoting phase. They're definitely, working out things. They're still working through their storylines. They're still building storylines. So NXT already has a lot of things developed where AEW is still building from the ground up. This was only the first show. So it was expected AEW did a big number. It did, 1.4 million. But I still think NXT is the better show from match-wise. And the big returns of the week for me, I think Ciampa is a bigger return than Jack Swagger. No offense to Swagger, but I don't think his name has any weight to it. Let's see what the live chat says. What show do you think was better, AEW Dynamite or NXT? Yep, those are both coming. Everyone was pissed off that Brock was winning the WWE title. Well, yeah. The referee was dumb in AEW. Which one? In the main event? Didn't call for the DQ. That is kind of dumb, though. They should have announced it was, a no-holds-barred match or something. Because you just have a guy interfere and then you let him go at it. That's kind of stupid. And I still feel like JR is not fully into this. It just seems like he's off. It's my opinion. Take it or leave it. JR, he does not seem like his old regular self. I don't know what it is. Maybe, he's been going through a rough couple of years. He lost his wife that probably traumatized him. She was in a bad accident and sadly she passed away. I'm guessing JR isn't doing this for the money, but just for the love of wrestling, which is, always good. It just kind of seems like he's burying everything. Like, don't go away. It's TV 14, folks. Another commercial here. And the next episodes of the Attitude Era review series are going to be Rebellion and Capital Carnage 98 and 99. So we got 2 episodes already. I got another SmackDown episode in the can. King of the Ring 95 as well. So what was your favorite moments from NXT here and AEW? I'm going to say both opening matches for me. Cody Rhodes versus Sammy Guevara, and Matt Riddle, Adam Cole. Definitely, you know what? It's great to see Cody Rhodes win, but I don't think they should have mentioned that if he loses, he would give up his title shot at the pay per view. Because we all knew Cody would probably win, but when they mentioned that, you definitely knew he would win. Because it doesn't make sense for Sammy Guevara to get a title shot. I don't even think he's had more than 2 or 3 matches at the pay per views. So, so we have Brock Lesnar as the WWE champion. A lot of people were not happy about that. Um, I think they just ran out of time. That's my opinion. Because the show, it seemed like they were pacing it fairly well at first, and then we just kind of got one F5, and Kofi lost. A lot of people not happy. It is what it is, I guess. We all knew it was coming. No one stays champion forever unless you're Bruno. Yeah, they had about 8 minutes left. Well, when the segment began, then you have entrances, the formal introductions, and then they had about. They left early too. They went off the air early as well. I think 2 or 3 minutes. So whether Fox was in a rush to promote a few more commercials and then get to their nightly 10 p.m. news here on the East Coast. So I do think they'll have to work a bit within Fox's limits and try to squish a lot of shit into 2 hours. So that's kind of how I feel about that. I do think they just kind of ran out of time, and I think they should have just held off on the Cain Velasquez debut. Almost forgot who it was. So, any questions or comments, send them in now, guys. Gonna wrap this up in a few minutes. We got our tag team tournament next week. The Young Bucks, I think, versus Angelico and Jack Evans. I should have written down the brackets for that tag tournament. No Dark Order on AEW this week. No Luchasaurus. There was a big 8-man tag after they went off the air. I would have rather seen the Young Bucks versus Santana and Ortiz, and then Jericho versus Omega. I think Omega should be more in singles matches. Once in a while, put them in a 6-man. This is their debut show. I think if Omega opened up AEW Dynamite in a hot opener match, I think that would have been awesome. Put Omega versus Cody Rhodes if you really want to. Personally, I do think that Omega and Rhodes should be, far apart from each other and wrestle very rarely. So we also have Hell in a Cell this weekend. Only 4 matches announced. And we have Chris Jericho and Sammy Guevara versus Dustin Rhodes and Hangman this week on AEW. So a lot of matches. I wonder if Jericho is going to be on Dynamite every week. That'll be interesting. I'm guessing yes. He is the champion as of right now. He is challenging Cody Rhodes at Full Gear, and I do want to see Hangman win the title. Honestly, I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. Because after it's Jericho and Rhodes, it's probably going to be Chris Jericho and Moxley, or Jericho Omega. Whoever wins Omega Moxley is probably going to challenge Jericho. That's my prediction right now. And I want to see Omega Jericho. We seen Ambrose and Jericho. It was never the greatest. Um, they're both good wrestlers. I just don't think their styles are meant for each other. Jericho had great matches with almost everyone. Um, so also it's important to note here, AEW was down 11% from the week prior, where they did over a million viewers. I think they did a 1.02 or 1.2 or something like that. Or they did a 1.2 the first week and then like a 1.02 or something like that, whatever. Yeah, I'm not gonna do any Hell in a Cell predictions this time around. I'll do them for myself, and then I'll probably just do the review, and I'll let you know how I did on the predictions. There's only 4 matches. SmackDown's ratings, they did 3.9 million, almost 4.4 million. Yeah, they did a 3.9 in the first hour and a 3.8 in the second hour. So SmackDown does huge numbers on Fox, as expected. That was a pretty good show. Um, I'm wondering if SmackDown will get those numbers every week. That'll be interesting to see. Got our morning coffee. Yeah, since they did promote, guys like Undertaker, Austin Rock, Sting, were Hogan and Flair on the show? Because I must have completely missed that. If Hogan and Flair were on SmackDown, I missed the hell out of that. Thought they were only on Raw when they promoted the Team Hogan versus Flair at Crown Jewel. Um, so Crown Jewel, I'm not watching it. I probably would never will. I'll buy the DVD and I might watch it. But other than that, I think we're gonna wrap it up now. Worst pay-per-view of 2011. Oh man. Let's see. Uh Maybe Capital Punishment or SummerSlam 2011. Yeah. I'll go with SummerSlam. Yeah, I'm going to wrap it up here, guys. Take some time, subscribe. If you enjoyed this review of NXT AEW Dynamite, make sure to give a thumbs up, comment down below. Thank you all for joining me today. As always, we'll talk to you later. Peace.